In Nova Scotia, legal support is available for survivors and victims of sexual harassment or sexual violence. These resources are free and can provide basic legal guidance on your rights and options for having this harm addressed. If you have experienced workplace sexual harassment, the Legal Information Society of Nova Scotia can connect you with a lawyer who can provide up to 4 free hours of legal advice to help you understand next steps that you can take. This might include guidance on how to have the issue addressed internally at your workplace, steps in filing a human rights complaint, as well as other options. It's important to note that you do not need a lawyer in order to file a human rights complaint. But it can still be a good idea to speak to someone who can listen to your story and help you understand options. Both sexual harassment and sexual violence are forms of gender-based violence. These kinds of harmful behaviors target a person's gender or sexuality and are about exerting power and control over another person. Sexual violence includes any behavior that is sexual in nature and where consent is not given or cannot be given. It includes sexual harassment, which is any kind of sexual touching carried out without consent. Consent is a voluntary agreement to engage in a particular sexual activity. Consent must be freely given, meaning that no one feels forced or coerced. Consent must also be ongoing, meaning that if someone has said yes to sex before, this does not mean that they have given their consent to sex at another time or to a different sex act than the one they agreed to. Consent is about respect, connection, and communication. If someone does not give their consent to any kind of sexual activity, this is sexual violence. If you have experienced sexual violence, then you deserve support. The province of Nova Scotia has an independent legal advice program where adult survivors of sexual assault can be connected to a lawyer for 2 hours of free legal advice. An additional 2 hours may also be requested. This program respects survivors' privacy and their right to make their own decisions. In addition to LISNS services, the Nova Scotia provincial government, in partnership with 211, has a separate hotline for survivors of sexual assault. You can call or text 211 directly, or alternatively, you can email them at help@ns.211.ca. You do not need to provide details about what happened. You only need to say that you experienced sexual assault in Nova Scotia and that you would like to get legal help. For more information about the Independent Legal Advice Program for Survivors, visit www.novascotia.ca/sexual assault legal advice. You can also use the Legal Information Society of Nova Scotia's Guided Pathway website to help you understand various options and next steps if you've experienced workplace sexual harassment. For more information, you can email us at safeatwork@legalinfo.org or visit legalinfo.org/safeatwork. We all deserve workplaces and lives where we are free from any form of gender-based violence. Let's work together to support survivors and victims and build a culture of consent in our workplaces and communities. The Legal Information Society of Nova Scotia, empowering communities through education.